gentlemen, and welcome to the Mikey Report for December 2nd, 2010. Happy holidays! Happy Hanukkah to my wonderful Jewish friends. We have quite a bit of news to get to, of course. I will have it in red. Well, actually, no, since it's Hanukkah, we'll go to not that color blue. There we go. Dredo. Alright. Well, you can spend the dredo tonight, especially if you're rolling high in the stock market. We'll get to business headlines, of course, in just a second. But first, we got some big news coming from Celebration, Florida, a town that Disney built, has its first homicide. Residents of the town 5 miles south of Walt Disney World in Florida woke up Tuesday to the sight of yellow crime scene tape wrapped around a condo. The first that has ever happened in 14 years. 58-year-old neighbor who lived alone with his chihuahua had been slain over the Thanksgiving weekend, according to Osceola County Sheriff. According to the sheriff's office in Osceola County. Community's famous friendliness is what brought investigators to Matteo Giovandito's body. Neighbors hadn't seen him for days, so they filed a missing persons report, then went into his condo a day later and found him. A few years ago, residents joked with the reporter that Celebration would feel like a real town when a bike was stolen. Now it has an unsolved killing on its hands. With 11,000 residents, Celebration is something of an anomaly in Central Florida. No suburban sprawl, the entire place is reminiscent of a quaint New England village. It's the town where people would give Christmas gifts to their favorite Starbucks barista when welcoming wooden rocking chairs sit lakeside on a sidewalk without being stolen, where neighbors tend to get suspicious if they notice you're not around. And that's what happened with Giovandito. So, his black Corvette also went missing. Neighbor was supposed to walk Lucy over the weekend, but he wasn't responding to her calls. Missing persons report was filed Sunday, and the next day neighbors went into his apartment and found his body. Won't say what type of scene they encountered or how he died. So, this just came across the wire today, which is very, very, very shocking. But there's been 3 incidents, including this one. In the summer, residents lamented the fact that the Veterans Memorial was marred with painted black graffiti. Yesterday, the grade school was on lockdown because a woman going through a divorce told officers that her husband might have been driving around with a gun, and now the homicide. So, prayer goes out to that community. But bad news, slightly more bad news, coming from the local area in Scranton. 14 months in prison for a former bank vice president, 37-year-old Glenn Clark, sentenced to 14 months in federal prison. He was the former VP of North Penn Bank. Pleaded guilty in June to embezzling $30,000 from the bank and falsifying records that cost the bank nearly $500,000. He'll be on supervised release for 3 years following his prison term. So, due justice being served on this case. We'll get to weather in just a bit. Let's take a look at stocks, where stocks had big gains for a second day in a row. Wednesday we didn't cover any stocks, but apparently they did go up. The Dow went up 100 points to 11,362. Nasdaq Composite up 25 nearly 30 points to 2579, and the S&P up to 1221.5 after a 15.5 point gain. Strong retail sales and a healthy reading on the housing market helped the stocks start December off right. The best 2-day run since the 7th and 8th of July. Oh wow. I just looked, Dow went up 249 points Wednesday, so definitely some big news from that end. So that is definitely good. Costco, Target, and limited brands all beat Wall Street sales forecast. Teen retailer Abercrombie & Fitch jumped 11% after reporting that its sales soared 32%. The major retailers reporting sales in November stronger than analysts expected. Increased spending during the holiday season would be a strong signal that consumers are feeling more confident. That is a good thing. I'm glad to see things get moving on the up and up with that. So we definitely had some big jumps today in the stocks, and we had some big jumps in weather, but in the opposite direction. We'll get to that, including a headline out of Western New York, and of course our normal forecast for Eastern Pennsylvania, and our feature city, which will come up after the break, here on tonight's Mikey Report.